Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Global Speedrun Association. We have some Super Mario Odyssey any percent league action coming your way, this time between Chaospringle and Equan underscore. My name is Dangers. I'll be on the mic tonight for you for this race. This one is a very anticipated matchup. I've been looking forward to this one for a very, very long time. And, these guys, both previous world record holders, going head to head. So it should be an exciting matchup indeed. Chaospringle, the king of consistency. Equanimity underscore, kind of the wild card runner. You can see already trying to go for some risky strats here and falling into the deep woods, basically. So you may see a little bit of that from Equan. He does like to play it a little bit risky, but sometimes when you go hard risk, you get the high reward. So it will be interesting to see which kind of approach to the video game comes out on top in this race. So I really do not have any predictions myself. It's hard to say. Chaospringle, definitely showing that he is a top contender as far as the league is concerned. Had a bit of a rocky start, but has been posting some very solid race times, including some 100s. Equan, on the other hand, has really just been all over the map. When he plays well, he plays well. But he's also had a history of kind of double stacking his races and having a couple of matchups back to back, and this is actually no exception. Did have another race earlier today, so the fatigue really does kind of wear on Equan, I've noticed. So if that is the case, it might come down to Chaospringle just being able to hold it out, edge it out, and Equan unfortunately not. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. These guys are queuing up at the start line, and they will be getting on their way right away. And of course, as these guys are facing off, everything that the GSA leagues are leading up to essentially is the PACE event coming up in April. We are about a month and a half away now. Only probably about 40 days to PACE. And if you guys don't know what PACE is, !tickets to find out some more information and book yourself some tickets for the event. But PACE will be the kind of showcase finals for this GSA event, as well as the Super Mario 64 70-star League and the Celeste any percent leagues. The finals will be taking place there. It will also be a 24-hour, 4-day event showcasing some other speed games as well. So very hype stuff. The first of its kind, really, a competitive speedrunning showcase event such as this. So you do not want to miss it. It will be live streamed for the entirety of its duration, 24 hours, 4 days, from the 25th to the 28th. And both of these guys actually do have a very solid shot. Equan has taken a couple of major losses in this here league so far. Again, as due to kind of the sloppiness sometimes, but when he wins big. And Chaospringle is still kind of hanging around in the middle, but either of these guys do have a very solid chance at being in the top 4 and participating at this event. And starting off in Cap Kingdom, one of the most optimized kingdoms. I know that a lot of runners, you spend a lot of time here, a lot of resets. It's kind of the Whomp's fortress of Super Mario Odyssey. So because you spend so much time here, you tend to get very familiar with exactly everything that goes on in this kingdom. Of course, now that I've said that, Equan actually taking a bit of a fall early here. Going to be missing the left side trick and having a little bit of trouble trying to get up the wall in the first place here, but does manage to get up. Chaospringle already done with the topper fight, though. And Equan, who is, in my opinion, the king of the early game, is probably the most likely contender to get the very first sub-10 time coming out of Sand, which is an absolutely disgusting time. He is going to be taking the fall for the first 2 minutes of the game. Chaospringle with a substantial lead, and going back to that consistency, as long as he carries it through, that might be all he needs to run with it. Chaospringle does have a he just actually posted a run today that was a 1:00:08 offline with the best snow IL that we have ever seen. And it looks like we have Espa joining me on commentary, coming into the booth. Espa, how's it going?
Hello, hello.
Hi there.
Welcome. Glad to see that I'm able to make it here in a pinch, help you guys out. But yeah, this is an excellent matchup here. We got Equan, arguably like the most inconsistent runner. You never know, but that's kind of an appeal because you never know. I'll lower my volume just a bit here. But yeah, we'll see them breezing through Cascade right now.
Yes, indeed, the mad and brutal fight here, and Chaospringle still holding on to that lead that he accumulated from Equan's left side miss. Now, Espa, tell me, do you have any predictions for this matchup coming up?
I did make predictions for this. I think that Chaos definitely has been on a hot streak of great races. His last race, he just got a 1:00:36, which is time, not even his best race time by 1 second. You know, who knows? Honestly, like anytime Chaos races, I feel like the race world record of 1:00:24 by little curbs, it's always on the table, always on our minds. We'll see what the early game splits are to see if that even allows for it. But so far, it seems like that's definitely a possibility. And for Equan, he's just looking for a good race. For him, that's like 1:01 would be great. Anything 1:01 or better, or a low 1:02 even. We're just trying to see like some sort of improvement. And that's super important for Equan too, sitting in 8th right now, right on the margin between the playoffs and not the playoffs. So hopefully we'll see him improve.
Kitten does seem to agree with that prediction. I don't think that it's fair to completely discount Equan as even like not being able to win this race, though. You do seem to have a very, very high regard for Chaos and the potential for a race world record, which could happen, of course. That being said, when Equan plays hot, he plays hot, and I don't think that a win for him is completely out of the question. But coming out of Cascade, Equan did have some problems in Cascade. So it looks like he's going to be kind of falling just a little bit further behind. But Chaospringle starting off in Sand Kingdom. I think Sand Kingdom is the kingdom that Equan really does shine. And if he plays really well, he could be making up some time over Chaos here. But like I mentioned earlier, he does have that 1:00:08 offline run to kind of bolster his practice for the day. So hopefully he can kind of ride the high of that into this race and keep the consistency alive. He hasn't made any mistakes to speak of yet, so as long as he stays hot, he can keep the lead. Equan coming up over the dunes, but Chaos the first to approach this ice dram here. He's definitely going to be going for the ice dram variation. Nice little moon sink animation there.
Not having some.
And Chaos actually does indeed get the ice dram. Equan going to be following suit. Now, this is a slightly trickier to time version of the dram strategy. Both of these guys are making it look extremely easy, but does save about a half a second if you pull it off over the traditional dram method. It just puts the bullet bill in a more optimal place. So does save quite a bit of time. These guys making, of course, everything they're doing look easy here. Chaos going to be the first to approach the Sphinx clip, though. Gets it on the first try. Still holding on to a very sensational pace. Ekwan right behind. Going to be doing his first attempt. Missing it there, but Chaos gets the second attempt on the first try. Literally flying through the stage. Ekwan is in the Sphinx room now. Doesn't really look like he grabbed a whole lot of coins there. He might be okay, but going to Seaside first might be on the table. Does look like he's going to have just enough to get him by, though. Meanwhile, a couple of extra tries from Ekwan to get through the wall the second time there. So, again, just kind of bleeding a couple seconds to Chaos's very, very good pace so far.
Hello, ironing out some technical issues now, but they should be fixed. Audio should be fine for me now. So, I can see the spin clip went well, and now Ekwan is on to Jaxi skip, while Chaos is getting the Cactus Moon. And for this moon, getting it optimally is actually kind of difficult. You want to get just one bump of the Cactus and still get that ground pound spot, which is pretty precise to do. But he just got it just fine. If you get hit by that Cactus, that's actually a huge time loss because you get the damage, and then also you get the damage refill about 1.5 seconds when you hit the moon. And Ekwan got a really short bump there on that Cactus. Nice bird cycle for Chaos.
Yep, when you make this section as optimal as these guys do, it really looks very, very spicy, and you can see he's got the notes in one cap throw there. Exactly what you want to see. Chaos is playing out of his mind at the moment. Hasn't really made any mistake to really speak of. Got everything on the first try. Got the ice dram. Got everything he was looking for. Globing at 940 here. Very sensational stuff. So going to be looking to be exiting sand at probably like a 10:04, maybe a 10:05. But this pace is looking sick for Chaospringle. Ekwan doing his best to trail behind. Did have a pretty good sand. The only thing to really speak of there was a couple of extra attempts on the Sphinx clip, but is playing pretty well himself, but will be looking to be about 20 seconds behind as we enter Lake Kingdom.
Yeah, that's a 10:05 low for Chaos, so that's amazing. That's one of his best sand exits. I mean, he's been getting, I think he's gotten a 10:03 before, but still, for a race, that's fantastic. Definitely on that race world record pace. 1:00.24 now. There's definitely got to be on his mind. And Ekwan not too far behind, too. So we'll see how Lake Clip evens this out, if it does.
Yep. You cannot discount anything yet. It is still very early in the race. We're only the first 10 minutes in. There we go. Chaos already showing just the first slip up. And of course, when you have to mention that he rolled slightly in the wrong direction, he's obviously doing something right here. So, but no problems there. Just a tiny hiccup, making his way through Lake Kingdom here. Opening up the zipper reveals this one moon, and then we will be seeing the Lake Clip strategy. Of course, Chaos the first to approach it here. And his setup, you know, everybody has a little bit of a different way of doing this, I've found, but this crouch method is probably my favorite. Does look like he got it on the first try. And his setup to get out of bounds looks good. He's got the checkpoint, and he is down. Very, very clean attempt there from Chaos. Now, Ekwan's turn. He goes for just a more basic approach with just standing in the spot that he thinks is right. And he's able to get it on the very first try as well. So not losing any time to Chaos, it looks like.
Yeah, that was crucial for both runners. Things could go very wrong there if you clip back in, if you don't get the checkpoint flag. None of that happened. Very clean Lake Clips. Always nice to see. And Chaos just got the Joy-Con down throw. Switch to and from his Joy-Cons. We'll see if Ekwan does the same. Usually he does. Ekwan should switch to Joy-Cons right here to go for that down throw. But not always. Sometimes he just doesn't have them around, apparently. Yep, it seems like this is one of those times he was just talking about earlier about how he's in a different setup than usual. His room was redesigned, so maybe I'm thinking those Joy-Cons weren't in his normal position, had to go for the Pro Controller strats there to capture the fish, which is slightly slower, but more convenient, because you don't have to change your controller.
True. And even though it might seem like a bit of an inconvenience to have to do something like that, considering how optimized Lake Kingdom is at this point, and how much it actually saves to do that one down throw. We're talking in the ballpark of about a second of time. It is indeed worth, especially at the top level. You know, it still amazes me to this day how young of a game, and I guess this goes to Celeste's credit as well, how young of a game Super Mario Odyssey and Celeste are, and just how much effort is being put into them as speed games, and the community surrounding them is just so fantastic. And, you know, really putting in hard work to make this game just as good as some of the ones that have been around for 10, 20 years. So definitely showcases why it is the game to be chosen for a league format such as this.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great game for leagues, Celeste as well. And we'll see, they just made it out of lake. Equine just got something along the lines of a 1320 lake exit, and Chaos well ahead of that, which is always impressive. Wooded, though, you've got two major things, the nut clip and the ensuing out-of-bounds movement coming right after that, which those are really deadly in some cases. And it's not just the nut clip, because if you miss that, that's instant at least 10-second time loss. That's the fastest way, I would say, that you can lose 10 seconds. It's about, you know, in 1/10 of a second, you can lose 10 seconds. But then in the out-of-bounds movement is pretty tricky, too, because you could always clip out, and then you've got to do it all over again, or find some sort of other backup, like the tree moon. But Chaos can't even use the tree moon, because he usually goes for tree route. And we'll see whether Equine does the same.
Yeah, Chaos losing a little bit of time over Equine here, fumbling with the rock and the rabbit by the looks of it. So Equine will be able to make up a little bit of ground for that. But yeah, as you said, Chaos going to be going for this tree route here. Relatively new development to the wooded route, essentially getting this and skipping a story moon given to you by the piranha plant later on. Equine going to be following suit as well. The only really risky thing about this particular strategy is that you are basically hanging over a death zone for a large portion right before the tower, and of course dying there would send you right back to the last place that you spawned in, which in this case would be the shop, and that we've already seen in the league has cost a lot of time for some of these runners, so you have to be very careful. There is a checkpoint available to you right before you arrive at this kind of story piranha plant that can kind of save your day, but if you don't grab it, then you are kind of toast if you fall. So
Yep. Very nice out-of-bounds movement from both runners, and we'll see Equine go up. And he just did the triple jump ramp strat, Equine. That's a very risky strat that very few runners do. I know Stravos goes for that, but very nice triple jump ramp from Equine. And that's just what you'd expect him to do.
And a very stylish insta-nut from Chaos as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we're getting tons of style points in this wooded so far.
Yeah, instant
Might
capture
have
from
even been a fast
Iguana.
up boy there. Yeah. But now we're going to do the piranha, or in some cases not do the piranha, you might say. We're just going to avoid him entirely. Chaos, you'll see, go across the ramp, and Equine doing the same. And we're going to get this flower road skip. Let's see how it goes, because this is also a really tough one. Chaos, very nice with the long jump flower road skip. Right across, and he makes the follow-up jump as well. Equine does it as well, so we'll see. Yeah, okay, you have to do an extra cap throw there, but that is just fine as we go into the tower.
Yep, Chaos really flying through the stage still. Just, again, that very minor mistake at the very beginning, trying to chase the rabbit down, having a little bit of difficulty with his momentum, but that really is the only mistake to speak of for Chaos as far as this run is concerned. Still looking very spicy, and Equine did have a little bit of a troubled start in Cap and Cascade, but he is kind of coming together through these later parts of the early game. And, you know, he's just keeping pace, and you can tell he's catching up a little bit. The lead used to be somewhere in the ballpark of 20 to 25 seconds, but Equine's closed it to about 10 to 15.
Definitely, as they're getting the final moons right here, going into the Fuzzy's room. Oh, Chaos with a little bonk there in the water, and water bonks are actually really rough. As Mario, you very rarely see those in the 90% route because you do so little swimming as Mario, but the water bonk there loses more time than a usual bonk because the animation after a water bonk is so much slower, and you see Chaos getting considerable time loss from that, but still a nice lead, and he gets the Fuzzy's room perfectly, gets the the best cycle that we can do in RTA. Or anyone, even in attempts. This is the fastest cycle. Ekwon getting the nice cycle as well. And we'll see how this wooded exit looks for both of the runners.
Looks like Chaos will be leaving at around an 18:25, and Ekwon around an 18:34. So, the lead has shrunk. Ekwon is probably only about 9 seconds behind at this point.
Yep, I would say that's accurate, about 9 seconds as we go into Cloud. Cloud, now, usually would say nothing crazy that could go wrong. I mean, with this game, like, even very safe things, there's always strange ways for them to go wrong. You could die on Cloud Boost, that's happened. You could just lose 4 seconds, as Little Curbs did in his world record, to a bonk during Cloud Boost, but Chaos gets it just fine. And we're gonna go for the manips now. Basically, Bowser hopping around here. He can hop long or he can hop short. And we want him to hop short because we're speedrunners and we want him to travel the least distance possible. And that has to do with the angle that you're hitting him here. We'll see Chaos and Ekwon both going for that manip. You want him to do just one hop after he falls there. Hop just one square, that is, and Ekwon got it just fine.
That's right. We're able to do that by punching him to a further away platform. That's why you see these guys run in behind Bowser every time they initiate these kind of punching cycles. Obviously not necessary for the last phase because the fight is over as soon as you finish. And Chaos showing no problems in Cloud Kingdom. And it's on to Lost. And, we've seen some pretty crazy... Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, I was just saying, we have seen some pretty crazy stuff in Lost. Anytime you get a sub-20 Cloud exit, you're on a great pace, and that's what Chaos just did. And Ekwon just above 20 minutes for that Cloud exit there. But yeah, we'll see Lost right here. They've got some crazy jumps. Crazy lava, too. Any point, death is imminent.
Yes, and if you die, you go back to the Odyssey, which is what makes Lost Kingdom just so scary. The further in you get, the more time loss you can accrue by dying in the purple poison, so you have to be very mindful and careful of that as you go through. Bit of a scary setup here from Ekwon, throwing his cap out just to kind of stall himself in the air, but the scary thing about stalling in the air with a cap throw means that you don't have Cappy to save yourself, so if you end up kind of hanging over the edge of a cliff, it can be very dangerous to try and get yourself back up. But Ekwon is fine, he's safe, he's on his way through Lost Kingdom. Both of these guys flying through Lost, no issues to speak of here. Ekwon not going for any sort of spin pound strategy off the branch, just looking to dive. Getting some weird input drops, it looks like, but... keeping it sane, keeping it safe. And we're going to be looking at a triple jump cage break setup here from Chaos. Long jump into a triple. And you have to line yourself up just so you don't bonk on this cage. If you do, you will take damage from that oncoming trapedal instead of breaking the cage open. That's the worst case scenario, except for potentially dying as well. But both of these guys making it look easy. Just one last moon underneath the bridge for Ekwon, and both of these guys are out of Lost Kingdom.
Alright, glad we made it out safe. Chaos there. Oh, we both had a little bit of minor mess ups on the ending there. Ekwon with a bonk on the pole, and Chaos and Ekwon too having that globe at the end of Lost is very difficult because you have to spin throw, and often it can veer off to the right or left, and you can't get the spin throw right on the globe. Both of them falling prey to that. But still on good pace, as finally the game leads you up to one of the kingdoms that they showed off very heavily in all the promotion, Metro Kingdom. But first we have to save it from the darkness.
Yes, this particular night metro portion of the game. Essentially, New Donk City is under attack by this robot Wiggler. So we have to clear him out to kind of restore some order to the kingdom. Not necessarily bring world peace. That's kind of a different thing. But unfortunately, there aren't enough moons in this nighttime portion to progress past the Metro Kingdom on our own. So we do have to clear out the Wiggler first to open up the moon pool a little bit.
That we certainly do. These two jumps, I mean, nowadays you see very few people mess them up, but they'll always mess up a ball, especially the Goomba jump, which these guys are just about to do. Chaos did just fine. Sometimes you can get the Goomba. This is actually technically RNG dependent, but usually you can get the Goomba jump, as Ekwon just did right there. And now we're going to City Hall. Chaos does the kind of old, I say old, it's not, there's nothing wrong with it, but this strat loses about a second to what we might see Ekwon attempt right here. Nope, Ekwon is not going for the Goryuya climb, which he has gone in several races before, so this is interesting to see Ekwon actually going for some safer strats for once. But both going for the standard climb, where you just triple jump up the back right there. There is a way to skip a cycle by triple jumping far to the left, and then you can skip one cycle on the elevators, which Ekwon has done several times. Chaos knows how to do it as well, but he's never done it in the race. And now we're on to the RNG boss of SMO, Mecha Wiggler. We want to get 2 cycles, but not even 2 cycles really. We want to get the shortest 2 cycle. So, first cycles both went well for both runners. Now we are going into the waiting phase, where we basically Mecha Wiggler's attacks in this phase are not that menacing because we can just stand in the corners and he will take the shortest line. But we're anticipating now, we're waiting for Mecha to come up and see what type of pattern he gives us. This pattern is all RNG, everything before was not RNG, but this is RNG, and it can either be good or bad. Always 2-cyclable, but not always easily 2-cyclable. And Chaos, this looks like a great pattern right here, and he gets it. So that was as good of a Wiggler as you can ask for. We'll see how Ekwon's does. Ekwon's kind of overlapping himself several times here. That's not too good of a pattern. Ooh, Ekwon kind of getting the short end of the stick here on the RNG, but he still managed to go 2-cycle. It was just a little slower than it could have been.
Yeah, I like to say that at the top level, no matter what pattern you get, if you know how to anticipate it and play it right, you will almost always get a 2-cycle. It's very rare that you will see these runners 3-cycle nowadays. It has happened in the league before. Just about anything that can go wrong will go wrong, as is Murphy's Law. But not today, thankfully, for these runners. They're going to be proceeding into the day metro portion with no difficulties. And, you know, both had a very clean night metro. Nothing to really speak of aside from Ekwon's maybe less than optimal cycle. So probably trailing Chaos by only about 12 seconds still.
Definitely, and they're going into day metro now. Chaos getting the scoop clip just fine. Ekwon, we'll see how he does with that scoop clip. And it's funny that you mentioned that with Mecha Wiggler too, because even Stravos, who has the BTT segment, the best possible Wiggler ever achieved, even in his last race, I remember that he got a 3-cycle. So anything can happen with Wiggler. Even
Certainly.
And Ekwon having terrible luck with this scoop clip here. This is on like what, 6 tries already? Something like that. Oh no, this is terrible. Scoop clip's so hard to back up. This is a huge time loss. Definitely his worst so far. That changes up things quite a lot. Looks like, yep, they that changes up the race. But now Ekwon's playing catch up by a lot more. But he can still do it. But we'll see.
Yeah, it almost looked like the motion control input required was just not triggering the way that Ekwon wanted it to. It didn't look like he was getting the kind of the distance into the cage to make that work. Luckily, he was able to do it. And he's going to be on his way. He's got bench friends now. But yeah, definitely giving Chaos a little bit more runway here as we proceed through day metro. And talking to Pauline here initiates us collecting these band members. The band just kind of hanging around town. There are a couple of moons that we could pick up that would be faster than gathering these musicians, including a sub-area called Bullet Building that is currently the BTT strategy, but it is incredibly difficult to do at an optimal level, and it's very cycle-based, so those two things combined together for I think it's about a second and a half of time save does not really make the whole situation very worth. So you do see these guys skip out on the Bullet Building room and continue to gather these musicians for the sake of consistency. Chaos getting the very optimal spin pound off the top of City Hall. It's exactly what you like to see. Ekwon, meanwhile, warping up to City Hall, getting a double spin buffer there. Not sure what makes that happen in the game, but, you know, just can be very frustrating to have to deal with. It is going to kill his momentum and make this particular section just a little bit behind on its cycles, but that's okay. Chaos, though, still showing a very strong game so far. There's very little mistakes for him to speak of, really, except for just a little bit of that sloppiness in Wooded. And, you know, with this moon grab here, he's going to be warping to the Odyssey, and looks like he's going to be globing at somewhere around 2930, meaning a sub-30 Metro exit. Phenomenal stuff by Chaos so far.
Sub-30 Metro exit, that's always what you want to look for. I believe that the race world record had, or at least the 26, the 10026, so around this pace had a 2952. So we'll see how close he is to that. Ekwon, I saw he had some sloppiness on the tower, but should be fixed. Also, I believe Discord was picking up the wrong mic before. Should be fixed to a better mic now.
You do sound much clearer and a lot less reverby, I guess is kind of the word.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, Discord always having issues picking up the wrong mic. But hey, you know, we're here and we're only about halfway through the race. At the end of the day, Metro is a great halfway point. And now we'll see. Did you catch Chaos's Metro exit? We'll see Ekwon's right here, and then by the difference we can tell. But yeah, Ekwon, we'll see what the fade out is. But Snow, both of them should be going to Snow. It looked like Ekwon's coins were fine. Definitely Chaos has 118, so that's perfect. 30-30 on Ekwon for his Metro exit.
Chaos left at 2950, so still on potential world record for a race pace, which is absolutely fantastic stuff. And
That's great.
It's going to come down to playing it through the late game. You know, we're about halfway through this run now, and Chaos is showing no signs of stopping.
Yeah, and this is definitely, I would say, Snow is Chaos's kingdom. You saw, actually got some inside information that just 30 minutes before this race started, Chaos ended an offline run. And I posted the splits in chat earlier. That run was just 1 second off his PB. It was a 1:00:08. So he's in great form. And the great thing about that run was that it contained a 4:35 Snow. And that's just such a crazy number. And it actually is the best Snow, prone to be retimed. Unfortunately, Chaos just missed the moon clip. So not going to get another Snow IL world record here. But it doesn't lose that much time. Only loses about a second. A little more than that, maybe, because he did the setup for it. But he just got a 4:35 Snow just 30 minutes ago. And that is the Snow IL world record. The fastest Snow ever done. The first time, now, Chaos, he's been on and off the community sob, the best times ever achieved at every kingdom. But now he's back on it. He didn't have any segments before. Of course, he's facing against Ekwon, who has 3 segments on the community sob. Ekwon has the best Cascade, the best Sand, and now the best Wooded. He recently beat Nycro's Wooded time. Ekwon also going for that Snow Moon clip, and he gets it. Or we'll see. No, he didn't get it. It looked like he could have gotten it, but he did not get it. So both of them missing Snow Moon clip, but that's not a huge time loss. Chaos still on great pace.
Yeah, that Snow Moon clip not coming in clutch for any of the... Oh, Ekwon getting
Oh no, that's terrible. Equan with the death.
Two value
That's here.
dives in a row.
Yeah.
Not just one. This room is infamous for this kind of mistake. You know, there's not really anything you can do. The camera's changing. You're kind of taking this weird triple jump off of, oh no, and a bonk off of the Taifu there after the stairs. This room becomes very difficult if you die in it because the cycles are all messed up. Also, something to note here, Equan, because of those two deaths, now no longer has enough coins to buy the shop moon. Hopefully he's able to be aware of that and recompensate, because if he goes to the shop not knowing he doesn't have enough coins, that could be a big time loss for him as well. So he's going to have to be, either he's going to have to go out of his way for some coins in the Goomba room, or he is going to have to notice before he gets to the shop.
Yes, indeed. Equan getting a little bonk there, trying to get up to that moon after the Blowy Joey. We do have Snow Dram here. And Equan, yeah, you probably just noted it. Equan losing some coins. Hopefully he notices. Hopefully he's keeping an eye on that coin counter, 91. I don't think, yeah, at this point, I don't think you can make up enough coins. You might be, because I know you can have like 89 at the start. You can get some in this room, but we'll see how close he can get, because he only needs 4 more. I just don't think you can. Chaos getting a nice Snow Dram. Yeah, maybe you know, or you know.
Yeah, that's about all the coins that you can get, is just that string right before the Goombas. So he is going to kill the Goombas, though, actually. That is a very smart play by Equan.
Yeah, killing the Goombas. That saved the run.
I forgot about that. That being said, he did have just enough. Yeah. So any death in this room would make it impossible again, but he did come in clutch. That's going to be a smart play from Equan there to make up the coins. So no problems. Going to be visiting the shop. But yeah, Chaospringle still running away with this. Didn't really have any mistakes to speak of in Snow Kingdom except for the missed moon clip, but we're looking at about 1.5 seconds of time save for that particular trick, so not a big deal. He's still flying through the stage, still on pace to potentially break the race world record.
Yes, indeed, as we get to Seaside, some very difficult jumps here at the start of Seaside. Chaos making that first one look like it's easy, and while Equan goes to attempt Snowdram.
Setupless.
Wow. Setupless Snowdram. Oh, he misses it. See,
but
that's
with
the risk of going for setupless. Yep. Rhea has gone for setupless and gotten it before in race. Equan, I believe he has. Someone told me that he had done setupless in a different race. So not the first time, but so he goes for it again. Yeah, very risky there. But maybe, I guess, you might figure after you miss it once, like you might as well, because you need all the time save you can get after a huge time loss, about 20 seconds from missing Snowdram. Chaos getting a nice grab, getting into the water. That's been something he's been having trouble with lately, that particular section. Trouble dipping into the water, which is actually harder than it sounds. You have to hold neutral on the control stick for Mario to fall into the water, as opposed to staying on the surface if you hold any other direction. But the timing for holding that neutral is kind of difficult. Chaos with some good fish movement. You want to take straight lines, sharp turns. That's what it's all about.
And this fish movement part used to be kind of the carefree part of Seaside, but as of a recent development kind of put together by Tuval and Circle, who I'm convinced are Nintendo employees, how else would they know all of the tips and tricks and secrets of these games? They seem to come up with all of them. But that being said, they did find a particular clip called the, well, we call it the Sphinx Dip nowadays, I suppose. So you're going to see Chaos grab this moon, and he's going to approach the out-of-bounds section of the map, place the Cheep Cheep in a spot where he can kind of recapture and clip out of bounds, and then he has to be very careful here to grab this moon without clipping back inbounds, so that he can go into the Sphinx treasure vault and get one more fast moon that we didn't really consider for the any percent route before. This new route saving somewhere in the ballpark of like 7 seconds. So very neat find that we've added into any percent recently. Of course, making sub-hour that
Oof,
much
Equan getting
closer.
a little bonk there. That was a very nice fish clip from Chaos, but you really don't want to mess up in this 2D area as Equan did, because it's not just like a normal bonk time loss. Any bonk you make, usually you're going to be falling down. You have to get back up. Sometimes you don't know the backup movement. It's not the same as the original movement. But Equan getting a nice roll cancel double jump dive instead of the usual triple jump, or in Fur's case, sometimes a double jump down throw. But that's a new strat that I've seen there. Perhaps saving a little bit of time, because roll cancels tend to be fast in this game. Anything with a roll cancel typically is faster than the non-roll cancel version of that strat. But Chaos still with a sizable lead. It seems like it is Chaos's race to lose at this point. But the thing is, you can't really say that in Luncheon because there are so many opportunities to lose time. Luncheon especially, such a long kingdom. You know, this kingdom is just over 6 minutes if you do it perfectly, but could be, you know, like it could be anywhere from a 6:08 for Chaos. I think he's been saying a 6:08 is possible for him, to sometimes 6:20 plus. So we'll see. Or in a race, 6:30 plus, 6:40 plus. You have no idea, because you could die, you could miss a turnip clip. Getting nice roll cancel onto the Spirit boss here. Spirit is kind of an easy boss, arguably one of the easiest brutals. But there are still some fast strats, even though Chaos is kind of making a mockery of him here by zooming in and out of first person. I bet at the end too, yeah, he tried to go where if you go into first person at the end of the Spirit, you can get this glitch. Doesn't save or lose time, but it looks cool, where Mario's standing in front of the Spirit. Didn't get that, but is getting the moon just fine as Equan exits Seaside, gets that globe. Next up for Chaos is the roll cancel room, as I like to call it, or basically you're going to be going into this sub area and you want to get the moon and get out, and there's rising and falling lava. But to do that actually, like, optimally is pretty precise. You're going to have to do a spin pound roll cancel right there, and ideally it has to be fast. And it's got to be the right angle, and always doing that after. Yeah, he did it just fine. He did a dive and then spin pound roll cancel, but all right, getting up there just fine. A lot of stuff though in Luncheon still. Gonna be getting this ground pound moon, and then rolling off here is sometimes hard. These surfaces, the thing about Luncheon is a lot of these polygon surfaces, yeah, that roll wasn't perfect. They could send you off flying in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I would say that Luncheon is to the late game what Wood it is to the early game. It's a kingdom where it's very tricky to do everything at an optimal level, and you know, it's not necessarily that you can make a huge mistake. Those do exist in both Wooded and Luncheon, but typically you're just kind of losing time on the regular because you're not doing everything absolutely positively optimally. But that being said, Chaos is kind of making a mockery of the kingdom. To be fair, he's just flying through the stage. A little bit of a weird angle there on this salt pile triple, but he is still going to be able to get the quick... Oh, but he actually gets the capture before the moon grab, unfortunately, but that's okay. Capturing that Podoboo is going to leave him kind of sitting in place and hopping up just a couple seconds after, so not a huge deal.
Yeah, that's kind of rough for Chaos. You always want to get that cycle for the Podoboo. It's very tight, especially if you go for the spin pound roll cancel strat. You're going to see those words a lot, spin pounds and roll cancels. We do a lot of them in the speedrun, but there is one on top of the pillar, which Chaos sometimes, he's been phasing into using it almost all the time now. But it's a risky strat, and yeah, Chaos a little bit missing the moon, but missing the moon is fine in Forks. I mean, it's not desirable, but as long as you don't get a death, that's what we're looking for here. Equan looked like he got hit during the Spirit fight, but had a nice backup by getting one of the beans. And now we get up to Turnip Clip. Turnip Clip, very dangerous, very finicky, I guess you could say. But it's all positioning, kind of like Lake Clip in a way, in that it's all positioning. You want to get a good position. Sometimes seems imprecise, but like, what? Oh no, falling down on this pillar. Equan. See, that's what you don't want to see.
Very bizarre situation for Equan there. The spin pound actually connected with the pillar, but he still managed to just kind of sink through it anyways and onto the ground, so he had to back it up by getting back on top. Unfortunate for Ekwon. You know, just these are the kinds of little mistakes that I'm talking about in a luncheon, that they just bleed time, and it's very easy to lose time to what the most optimal luncheon is supposed to look like just from these tiny little mistakes. And because it's such a long kingdom, they can really add up.
Oh, definitely. Chaos, meanwhile, got a good turnip clip, so that you're always glad to see. Ekwon will be coming up to that shortly, but first he's got to make this Podoboo cycle, and he's likely doing it. Knowing Ekwon, knowing most runners in the league, he's doing the spin pound roll cancel, and he's going to do it without any camera manip. The fastest cycle that you can get there.
Except
Makes it with
missing
time
the
to
ground
spare.
pound there, so he is going to have to
Oh,
wait for
no.
the to come around.
Yeah, missing the ground pound. That's what'll kill the cycle right there. Chaos shaking the meat. It seemed like he had a little trouble shaking that meat, but he shaked it. And this will be the last moon that we get, and then we are out of luncheon onto RBM, which is Ruin, Bowser's, and Moon. Hardest, I wouldn't say. Oh no,
no,
Ekwon with
Ekwon.
the death on Forks. That's terrible. Oh, he's getting 2 deaths. He got that death in Snow, and now the death in Forks. Deaths are like, I don't know. It always seems like Ekwon gets such good paces. Well, he doesn't take it far enough to get a good pace because he just gets these terrible deaths. Sometimes a lot of them, and you're wondering like sometimes like how does someone like Ekwon another bonk, but he saved himself. Thank God. That could yeah. The thing is the backup when you get with backup, that's 3 bonks in a row for Ekwon. Are you gonna stop bonking? 4 bonks. Oh my God, Ekwon.
I think he's trying to go for fork room bonk percent here. He is indeed the champion of that category with 5 extra bonks in the forks room and 1 death. Unfortunate for Ekwon, but
what was
finally
that, 5
making
bonks
his way
in a
out.
row on the same spot. Oh my God.
I think so, something along the lines of that. But I think you're right. I think that Ekwon, you know, like he plays very well, and he obviously is a force to be reckoned with. You mentioned earlier 3 IL world records from Ekwon in the early games specifically, but it just comes down to the consistency and, you know, keeping a level head and not making the big mistakes. And I think that's where Ekwon can tend to suffer a downfall, and you're seeing that here.
Gotta cut his losses right now. Ekwon cut his losses with a good turnip clip, but he can't even get it first try, and he's gonna have to move the turnip too. That's oof. I don't know what this luncheon is, but it's gonna be one of the worst luncheons. Chaos, meanwhile, starting Ruined. At least Ekwon is in luncheon while we're doing Ruined, although he's wrapping it up. But so we have something to talk about, and there's still one more kind of movement section of luncheon here where there's a few things that could go wrong. Very easy to fall in the lava, especially for one of the moons near the end. But yeah, like you look at Ekwon and you're wondering like how does a guy with a 1:00:38 PB, which at the beginning of the league that was fantastic. Now actually like a few people, Suisaga for example, has surpassed that. But how does a guy with a 1:00:38 PB get like 106, 107? And the answer is you have good movement, you have great you know, movement is the most important part, some people say, of this game. Oh, Ekwon not getting that spin pound on the moon. That's one of the places where you could lose time, but at least he didn't fall into the pink lava there. But how does he do it? The answer is that he just gets a lot of deaths, a lot of big time losses, and not a lot of little ones. And that's something that Ekwon is looking to fix. And I can see that he's definitely like taking steps to fix that. Like you can see in Night Metro, he did the normal strat. He didn't do the Little Curbs / Goryuya City Hall climb that saves only 1 second, but is super risky. He didn't do that. He just did the normal climb. So you can see that, like, you know, Ekwon is sort of learning how to race more. He's getting more invested, and I hope that he performs well in his playoff match, which could be against Nycroveda if he stays in 8th place right now, which I believe, if you like normalize it for the number of races that everyone has done, like Ekwon should be in around 8th place. Chaos should be in around 3rd right now. Obviously, the standings right now will differ a little because Ekwon has missed some matches and like not everyone's in the same round. But if you normalize based on that, and of course the way the playoffs should work is that first plays 8th, second plays 7th, etc. Chaos out of Ruined just as soon as Ekwon is entering Ruined. Considering Ruined is like a 3-minute and 16-second kingdom, at least on the best possible level. So like you're looking at, you know, a little around that, a little less than that probably because of all the cutscenes, but ballpark about 3 minutes that these guys are apart.
And that's really important to consider. We are kind of teetering on the cusp of the maximum amount of points that anybody can get in a race. So Chaospringle, if he is able to clutch this out and continue playing as stellarly as he has been, and maybe Ekwon makes 1 or 2 more mistakes and wins by 3 minutes, then Chaos will take home 59 points. Ekwon will walk away with 1. There is still a lot to go yet. We still have all of Bowser's and all of Mooned to run. But that being said, just about anything can happen. But yeah, the winner of the race will receive 40 points as a kind of base, and then the rest of the 20 points are split up between the runners depending on performance. So if Ekwon wants to clutch out as many points as he can, he has to play as cleanly as he possibly can from here on.
Yes, indeed. I don't know. I mean, anything could go wrong. I'd say like one more huge mistake from Ekwon, and we're definitely Chaos is getting those 59. Ekwon might as well get a 107 or 108 because at that point, at that point you're just playing for the pride of finishing once you're past that 3 minute mark. But Ekwon could still catch up. I would say this is not over for Ekwon. Even if winning and Ekwon again like having to ground pound twice on that Ruined Dragon, that's another little time loss that he's getting. And I feel like a lot of these mistakes from Ekwon, like you look at the 5 bonks in a row, is a perfect example in Luncheon. He gets the bonk, and then he realizes, okay, I can't cut it this close. He cuts a lot of stuff really close. Chaos going for dive back. Let's see if he gets that dive back. He does. So that's what you got to expect from Chaos, and doing pretty good so far. But Ekwon, he cuts his movement so close, and that's a problem, like, when it comes to making little mistakes, because, like, with that Ruin, you're trying to get the first frame that the Ruin is available, that the Dragon is available for the ground pound. You're trying to get that first frame that the ground pound works. But if you're early, then you have to do a whole nother ground pound animation. So, and yeah, he's just, like, a little bit missing the moon like that. I would say just Ekwon cuts it close a lot of times, and that's why he has all these IL world records in these really hot kingdoms. Like, the Sand IL world record is no joke. The Wooded IL world record is no joke. Those are, like, really tough kingdoms to have. Like, arguably the 2 hardest kingdoms in the game, to have those 2 IL world records, they're great. But that's because if you play the level 100 times and cut it really close every time, then, like, it pays off. And it might pay off for runs, too. But in races, you've got to have a different strategy, I feel like. Chaos getting that Bowser Dram. Let's see if you get the insta-dive. A little trick, doesn't save that much time. Gets it pretty good angle there for that insta-dive. That can be very finicky. And we're getting to what I've never discussed as a commentator before, but the Topper versus Harriet. Chaos, of course, in the Topper first gang. Topper first, a little bit of a... Throw your GSA teas in the chat, by the way, if you have that emote. Or your Nycro dabs, if you happen to be a Nycro subscriber. Or your Samurai one-man toppers, if you are a subscriber to Samurai Man. But Chaos, one of those few Topper first guys left in the league. Fur has done it a few times. Dangers, I know you've been a Harriet first kind of guy, but I've seen you move to the Topper side before. I'm hoping. But
I have indeed joined the dark side once or twice myself, but I believe that Chaos is about the only person remaining in the league that does Topper first on a consistent basis.
That's true.
It really does come down to personal preference, I suppose, at the end of the day. But Harriet is kind of just... I think that Harriet first is just the way that everybody learned the game, because in the early days of the game, that was just the one that everybody chose. But yeah, breaking the mold with Topper first, and Chaos was one of the very first world record holders to kind of implement that strategy, and he kind of brought on that phenomenon with him. So
Ekwon missing the moon again. Ekwon just missing these moons. I don't know what he was trying to do. Probably some sort of like show off strat or whatever, where he's doing some crazy tricks to get near the moon, but it wasn't close. Anyways, Chaos getting the Brutals, no problem, both of them. Yeah, but like you were mentioning, Chaos is the only person to do it consistently. I think Fur has done it twice now, but those two are the only people. I actually do track that stat, but it's not displayed yet. Maybe one day it'll be displayed on the tracker. But, yeah, we're going to see Chaos doing the box moon. Ekwon will not have to do this box moon, because I saw just earlier, oh, Ekwon missing. That's the shard you don't usually miss right there, that shard that Ekwon just missed. But he does get the dive back, the much harder shard he gets. And I'm kind of not surprised. He's been missing some very unconventional, not usual stuff lately. But he's been nailing some of the hard stuff. We might even see him go for Topper Required. I know people in the chat love Topper Required. Well, Ekwon has gone for it in one of his races before. He doesn't do it every race, so we'll see how that goes. Topper Required, of course, being the strat where on the Mecha Brutal you can spin pound off the side, and most people, including Chaos, will see do Target Acquired, where you get the very last bubble. You can kind of land on the bubble after being flown away from the mech and hit it very quickly with a spin pound, very risky. But you can actually do that for one more too. It saves very little time, but you might see him go for it. But in the meantime, we have Bowser, Dram, Chaos on the mech also. Any, like, I don't know, you don't want to think, like, right now, you don't want to think about any major time losses, and, like, even then, even if Chaos falls off mech, like, he'd have to have a death on mech or something for really that to impact things. But it's happened before, and we'll see how he finishes it off as Ekwon goes for Harriet, GSA H, if you have it in the chat, and gets the target acquired. So we'll see what this... Target acquired. Wow, it looks like Ekwon actually on Harriet. She's doing some nice strats here. I mean, he's going for, obviously, Furriet. And by the way, Fur, the guy, yeah, so you see what he just did there. That's a spin pound roll cancel jump to hit Harriet. Not too many people do that. Most people just go for a dive and then a jump to hit Harriet. But that spin pound roll cancel, I had seen it before, but I just learned about it today because Fur, who created the strat for Harriet, created the Furriet where you go into first person and then you can throw your cap at a precise angle to get the bombs. He just made, wow, Ekwon really messing up Topper here. This is not what you want to see. But anyways, Fur made a great tutorial, 20-minute YouTube tutorial on how to do Fur fast. Could Ekwon die on Topper?
No, he's okay.
No, he's good. He's good. But he was cutting it close there. Got down to 1 health, and that's kind of an advantage of doing Topper first because you can grab the checkpoint afterwards. Now to grab the checkpoint and get the moon, it's like it's not worth it because you're not going in that direction. But
yes, if you were to do Topper first, then maybe perhaps on the way by that is a valuable option, but not when you do Harriet first. But yeah,
let's see this Bowser's
is...
exit. Okay, Chaospringle exiting Bowser's, you're going to say, it's like 55-12 or something like that? 55-12. So do the math. You know, I used to say, oh, average race moon is 520, but these guys are good. There's no way these guys are getting... 520 moon is terrible for Chaos, you know? These guys are getting, like, 515, 513, 512, 511. Like, who knows? Chaos thinks that it's possible for him to get a 509 moon with with Micro Pillars if he learns that strat. He's been talking about one of the goals of his is to eventually get a 509 moon, which would be insane. Like the Miles Pro moon of 510 was achieved so long ago, and everyone was like, you know, like, oh, we'll never catch up to that in RTA. But here we are. We're just about almost there. I would say, like, with a perfect moon, someone could definitely beat the Miles Pro moon, which was achieved many months ago, not even in this year. But yeah, Chaos, no huge mistakes here. Like, hopefully, I don't know, do you know anything about, like, this kind of pace? Like, race world record, oh, Ekwon can't get up the mech. Come on, Ekwon, gotta get up there. And now yeah, he did a side flip. Like, what is this movement?
He's trying his best here.
No, yeah, Ekwon's trying his best. Going up the side. Okay, there we go. We made it. I'm glad. And truth be told, like, I don't know. We'll see how he... Ooh, misses. Yeah, Ekwon not going for Topper acquired there. It's probably a good thing he didn't. But
luckily
on the mech.
Luckily staying on the mech
most
so that
important
he
thing.
was
Most
able
important
to...
thing, he's doing it. You don't want to fall off because then you've got to get a Pokio. I was thinking, like, maybe one of these days we could kind of find out a strat to climb mech once you've fallen off without using a Pokio. It's probably possible, but it would be very difficult. And so, and as far as we know, Pokio is the only way to get back up. Chaos now, onto the final Bowser fight.
Ekwon taking a fall on the mech fight here.
Oh, no,
trying his best to...
Ooh, yes, that's kind of a fall. Yep, that's a fall.
Oh, it's
that's
certainly a fall.
Right on the floor. That was close, but tried his best to save it.
Yeah, at this point, looking like Chaos is going to be running away with full points unless there is some sort of drastic mistake happening on Chaos's part. But yeah, as you were saying, his pace is looking very good. With a Moon that is a 1x split time, we could be looking at a race world record here.
Definitely. Race world record is like, if he nails everything, that's his, it seems like at this point. 100.24 is the time to beat. Ekwant, meanwhile, just finishing up Bowser's. We'll see him cruise through, and I don't know. This max points looks like it is a thing at this point. This seems like Chaos is going to get the max points if the gap stays the same. Not sure exactly about that, though, but yep, Chaos with a nice cutscene skip. Going to go on to the final sequence of the game.
And that is the escape sequence, of course, just capturing Bowser here and making his way through. So a couple of things that could go wrong being the 2D skip. And then we have also seen some pretty crazy things in the pillar room itself. So, you just have to be very mindful that you play it safe, play it careful. And if I were Chaos, I'd be doing my best to do just that. And, maybe pull out a race world record here.
Definitely. And you're going to see Chaos go for 2D skip. Go for... Chaos kind of prides himself. He has pretty good 2D movement here. 2D movement here, I find, or at least when I've done it, and what Chaos seems to say, is that you're just kind of memorizing like the sequence of what you need to do, when you need to shoot the fireballs. It's not as easy as it seems, as we've seen some 2D deaths, both on 2D skip and in Rhea's case, right on that other section. Right before you're exiting, but he exits just fine. Gonna enter pillars. We'll see Chaos, he can get like a 52 pillars, 53 pillars, 54 pillars, just 54 seconds from the fade to white here to the finish. So we'll see how he goes. That would be like a good pillars.
So race world record is a 24. Chaos getting the white screen at 32. So essentially, he needs the pillars of his life to make this race world record happen. But that being said, he did get all 5 fireballs to hit. Looks like he's going for this
and he's going
strategy.
for the miles. He knows. He probably knows. He's like, wow, this is close for a race world record. Or he just wants to go for it. But he going for those 2 fireballs. Can he get it? Yes, he doesn't even need to take one swipe on that 3rd pillar. That's how you know that you've done it perfectly. You don't need to take one swipe. You just get it all with fireballs. And he gets the last pillar pretty good on those pillars. Oh, no.
But the last fireball getting blocked,
I don't know, man. Yeah, it looks like he's just going to miss that. Race world record. Still a race PB for him, because his best time before, Ekwon kind of fallen off the side there of Moonskip, but that's going to be a race PB for him. Best ever race time. Before it was a 100.35. That's a 100.28.98. Lost some time in pillar room too, but you got to like that. That's an excellent race for Chaos. Now his last 3 races have all been excellent times. He got that 100, what was it, 36 last race, and then like 101 OX his last race before that. So his last 3 races have really been shaping up to be great, and he's really showing that he's forced to be reckoned with. And as Ekwon finishes up, well, Bowser was just throwing the little dirt balls, and you never want to see Bowser throwing dirt balls, so that means something wrong happened. But
did unfortunately miss the initial cycle there and had to kind of chase Bowser down, but he is doing his best, of course. Now, to Ekwon's credit, it is very, very difficult to race against Chaos's best, a 100.28 coming from this race. So, even if Ekwon was able to play a little bit cleaner, we did mention a couple of big mistakes and kind of not learning from his mistakes in some places, a la the Forks room. But that being said, there's only so much you can do against a 100.28, but Ekwon doesn't look like he's going to even be able to nab any points from this particular race. At this point, it is essentially dead for him to make any extra points up. Chaos going to be walking away with 59 here, and Ekwon only 1.
Yep. Ekwon can still leave with his pride, though, of having a finished run. So we will see him finish as quickly as possible. And like you said, yeah, this definitely was not only a case of like, oh, Ekwon did poor. Like, this is a case of Chaos really popping off. Chaos getting a 100.28. Chaos really having, like, any competitor would lose to this, aside from maybe Little Curbs. We have Chaos in the call right now. Chaos, yo, what do you think of that race, man? Your best ever race time.
I mean, I don't know. Like, literally, the last thing I did in this game was get like a 108, so I'm coming off of that. And like, I actually got a good early game in a race for once, and I just screwed it and put in. It's kind of disappointing, to be honest. Like, Metro is disappointing as well because I could have gotten like a 34, which would have been pretty good Metro. Yeah, it's kind of disappointing.
Still a very solid time for GSA races, though, to be fair. One of the best, in fact, your best so far. It doesn't mean that we cannot see any better or worse from you in the future, but you know, we're closing in on sub-hour, and it kind of excites me to think that by the time we have pace rolling around, we might actually be seeing a 59 in the pace event. So you guys are really, really on the cusp. So keep on improving.
You know, that's definitely something I've been talking about for a while. Actually, was my I haven't made too many predictions regarding sub-hour, but one of them is that sub-hour will be achieved at pace. I didn't say for the first time, but it will be achieved. So definitely pace is something that you all should be going for as Equan enters Pillar's room right here. Yeah, I will be at pace. Dangerous will be at pace. And hopefully Chaos and Equan. Chaos, I think he said he's going to pace regardless, but hopefully if they can make the top 4, they will be competing at pace. Equan getting that last pillar here. We'll see. Yeah, at this point, the 3-minute mark has long passed, but F1 still getting a completed run in. And, you know, it was full of mistakes, but 104.22 to any casual player, to anyone who's tried to speedrun this game, it's not a time to be coughed at. It still shows you got to have a lot of knowledge in this game. You've got to have been playing this for a long time to get a 104. And to consider that a bad run, like, you've got to be pretty good. So, Equan might join us too.
Yeah, maybe.
Call now.
Players. Equan, what's up?
Not much.
What do you think about your run there? 104.28.
I mean, it's an improvement on my last couple of races, I'm pretty sure.
That's true. I think
107 and 106, so eventually by the time we get to playoffs, it'll be 100. It's that easy.
Exactly. And with the good thing about the playoffs too is you'll have plenty of races to bring it down. You know, the way that our playoffs format actually works, which we're about to get talking about that because we're playoffs coming up pretty soon. But we have a few races left in group stage, and then playoffs, 8th seed plays against 1st seed, etc. And playoffs are going to be like a best of 3 of best of 3s. So up to 9 races, but usually it's not going to be that many. And it'll definitely let the consistent players like Chaos shine through, and maybe even like someone like Equan, you know, if it takes little for them to warm up, we'll see that happen. You'll get to learn from your mistakes. You'll get to not make the same ones again. But definitely a very good race. This is definitely one for the books. This is the second. Well, Curbs had the 26 and the 24, but like anytime you see a 102x in a race, I don't know. That's just mind-blowing, man. So this will definitely be one for the books. Hopefully, we can improve that race world record. I don't know, any parting questions?
No, I don't think so. Smile.
Yeah, GG's to both runners in this race. You know, you put in your best effort. Chaos coming out with the total amount of points that you can possibly get in one race, 59. Equan going to be taking home 1. Good luck in your respective races next week, boys. Coming up on GSA in just about 5 minutes, we have Super Mario 64 70-star League Div 1 action coming your way. Puncation versus Binny. You do not want to miss it. We're going to take a quick intermission, and we will be back, so stay tuned.
Peace.